Hari Om. Let us chant from verses 1 to 10 of chapter 9. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam Pravakshyam yanasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yajñatva mokshase shubhat Raja vidya raja bhukyam Pavitramidamuttamam Pratyakshabagamam dharmyam Susukham kartumavyayam Ashraddhana purushaha Dharmasyasya parantapa Aprapya mam nivartante Mrityu samsaravatmani Maya tadamhitam sarvam Jagadavyakthamurtina Masthani sarvabhutani Nachaham teshvavastitaha Nacha matstani bhutani Pashyame yogamaishvaram Bhutabhranna cha bhutastaha Mamatma bhutabhavanaha Yathakashastito nityam Vayu sarvatra gomahan Tatha sarvani bhutani Masthani tyupadharaya Sarva bhutani kaunteya Prakritim yanti mamikam Kalpakshaye punastani Kalpadau visrajamyaham Prakritim swamavashtabhya Visrajami punah punaha Bhutagramamimam krishnam Avasham prakritir vashat Nacha mantani karmani Nibhadnanti dhananjaya Udasina vadasinam Asaktam teshu karmasu Mayadhyakshena prakritihi Suyate sacharacharam Hetunanena kaunteya Jagadviparivartate
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bhagavad Gita, chapters 7 to 12, is talking about Brahman, God. So the subject matter of discussion from 7 to 12 is God. In that, 7 and 9, he is going to talk about the Paraprakriti, the higher nature of God. 10 and 11 is going to talk about Aparaprakriti, the lower nature of God. And then in chapter 12, Arjuna will ask, what should I do? Should I worship Paraprakriti or Aparaprakriti? He says, doesn't matter what you worship, have these 35 qualities. If you want to know God, develop those 35 qualities. This is the broad framework of 7 to 12. In chapter 8 that we concluded recently, we saw a topic that was brought in is Krama Mukti. Again in chapter 9, he goes back to the main theme, of Jivan Mukti. A virtual repetition of chapter 7. So, 2 verses we have concluded. Verse number 1, he said, I will give you knowledge and wisdom. In verse number 2 that we concluded last week, he spoke about the glories of the knowledge. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he will talk about 2 glories. One is his own glory he will talk. Another glory that he will talk about is the glory of the knowledge. So one is, he talks about one's own glory, and then he talks about the glory of the Shastra. And normally speaking, you don't speak about your own glories, no? Isn't it? It's not humility. You don't speak how great you are. But throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he keeps talking about his own glories too. And then he will talk about the glory of the knowledge too. In the previous verse, we saw him talking about the glory of the knowledge. Now, why do they talk about these 2 glories? Why does he talk about his glory and the glory of the knowledge? He has to talk about these 2 because these 2 is the method to infuse Shraddha. They talk about the glory to infuse Shraddha. It's so great. It's so great. It's so great. When it is repeated that it is great, when it is repeated that it is great, you will develop Shraddha in that. Why do we need to develop Shraddha? Because the pramanams are different. Okay, to put it very simply, we know that a human being is made up of gross body, subtle body, causal body, enlivened by Brahman. We know that. We have studied that. Again, I repeat, we have studied a human being is made of, okay, a human being is spirit plus matter. The human being equals spirit plus matter. Now, what is matter? The gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. So, human being is of 4 components. So, the human being has 4 components. What are the 4 components of a human being? Gross body, subtle body, causal body, and Brahman, Atma, Brahman, the spirit. Of these 4, one, you don't need to have any Shraddha because you know it. What is that one that you don't need any Shraddha for of these 4? Are you able to follow the question? Raj. What of the 4, you don't need Shraddha. For one component, you don't need Shraddha. What is that component that you don't need Shraddha for? Don't say Brahman. Yeah. எல்லாம் ஒரே சங்கராச்சாரியாரா கிளாஸ்ல இருந்தா அதான் ப்ராப்ளம், isn't it? When you have to address all Shankaracharyas, it becomes a problem. Shailesh, what is that one thing that you don't need? Which is of the 4 component, one you don't need Shastra for. What is that component that you don't need Shastra for? The gross body, the physical body. You don't need Shraddha to know that you have a physical body. Correct? Do you need Shraddha to know that you have a physical body? You don't need Shraddha because you can, knock your, like someone says, knock your head against the wall. You know that you have a gross body. But you need Shraddha to know that you have a subtle body, causal body, Brahman. You need Shraddha for that. To know the gross body is Pratyaksha Pramanam, you don't need Shraddha for that. That is why sciences keep everything physical, because it is Pratyaksha. Are you able to follow? Even when they use mind, they mean brain only. Why? Because it is Pratyaksha. So if you go and tell the neurologist that the mind will continue after the brain dies, if you tell that person, neurologist, what that fellow will do to you? What he will do? He will laugh at you. Why? Because there is no direct, it is not a Pratyaksha Praman. Are you able to follow? Shraddha is required where that which is not Pratyaksha but told by a higher authority. So to know that there is the mind, to know that it travels, it is the mind that comes into the body, it is the mind that lives in the body, and then it goes into all these. Who speaks about all this? Who tells you all this? It is the Shastra that tells you all this. Therefore, Shastra becomes a different Pramanam. So there are two kinds of Pramanam. One is the Pratyaksha, another is the Shastra. Pratyaksha Pramanam, glories need not be told because you know it already. Since it is not Pratyaksha, the glories has to be told. Are you able to follow now? The glories has to be told because it's not Pratyaksha. If you say I know it, you can't say I know it. Why? Because if you say I know it, what is it if you say I know that there is the subtle body, I know that there is a causal body, I know that there is Brahman enlivening this. You can't say I know it. Why you can't say I know it? Why you can't say I know it? You can't say I know it because if you know it, you will be detached. Since you are not detached, you do not know it. It's very simple. You can't say I know it. But sir, I've been coming for the classes and any question that is asked in the class, I'm giving the right answer. Sometimes you are also not clear. If you give us a choice, we will explain it. We can explain it better than you because you don't have that much of worldly knowledge and all. At least we have so much of worldly experiences, worldly knowledges and all we have. Therefore, we will be able to explain it much better than Shankaracharya also, than Krishna also. Why? Because they don't know both. No, they know only one. But you know both. Are you able to follow? Shraddha is required. How to enforce Shraddha? The glories has to be told. How great it is, how great it is, how great it is. When the greatness is repeatedly told and you reflect on those greatness and understand it, you develop Shraddha. So, two wonderful qualities is described. The two wonderful qualities for gaining this knowledge is what? Anasuya and Shraddha. He doesn't use the word Shraddha directly. By elaborating the glories, we understand that what he means is the glories are told to talk about Shraddha. Otherwise, it is the most egoistic thing to talk about one's own glory. And Krishna throughout the Gita keeps talking my own glory. In fact, all enlightened masters talks about their own They keep repeating how great they are. They keep repeating how great they are. Looks like they don't know the spelling of humility. Even an ordinary person seems to have more humility than these enlightened masters. What is the difference? The difference is the effort they are making is to help you develop Shraddha. Why? Because the subject matter of God, as in Paraprakriti, is so subtle that if you don't have Shraddha, you can never understand it. Why do you have to have Shraddha? Because the subject matter that they are talking about God is Paraprakriti, the God without a form. Clear? Ramamurti na enna artham? Not our Bhaskar Ramurti. Clear? Ramamurti, Krishna Murti means the Lord with the form. Murti means form. Lord with a form. Even to that Shraddha is required. But here, the subject matter is something deeper than that. What is the subject matter here? Paraprakriti. That the supreme nature of God. Unless you have Shraddha, you can never know it. If you don't have Shraddha, you can never know it. Therefore, the glories of the knowledge is explained in verses 1 and 2. Now we'll move on to verse number 3. Verse number 3 padinga.
Ashraddhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsaravatmani. Ashraddhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya man nivartante mrityu samsaravatmani.
O Parantapa, men devoid of Shraddha in this Dharma, without attaining me, return to the path of the mortal world. O Parantapa, men devoid of Shraddha in this Dharma, Shraddha, faith, Dharma, supreme knowledge, without attaining me, return to the path of the mortal world. Previous verse, he didn't say Shraddha because he said Ashraddha Danaha. We connected to Shraddha to the previous. That's how the connection. Because he didn't say Shraddha before. Now he said Ashraddha Danaha Purushaha. Purushaha means the human beings, the individuals who doesn't have Shraddha. In what? In this Dharma that I taught. The word Dharma is used in the previous. The word Dharma is used in the previous verse also. Now he is using the word Dharma even here. Dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. They keep coming back. They keep coming back. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Mrityu means Mrityu means death. Death means change. So what is he talking about here? Change means the mortal world. So he says, a person who doesn't have Shraddha in this knowledge, what will happen to them? Okay, if you have Shraddha, what is the consequence? The consequence of Shraddha is freedom from the cycle. If you don't have Shraddha, you will be caught in this, cycle. When we are worried about the day-to-day problems, where do we have time to worry about the Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam cycle? Who will worry about the Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam cycle? A person who has gained some maturity. A person who has gained some maturity will be worried about the Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam cycle. And how did that person gain a maturity? A person gains maturity by following the path of Dharma. By following the path of Dharma, you gain a maturity. That maturity will make you to understand that you are caught up in this cycle. Otherwise, how many ever times you keep hearing about this? You are caught up in the cycle, you are caught up in the cycle, you are caught up in the cycle. We'll go back thinking cycle alone we'll see. Cycle and all we'll see later. Let us worry about the problem of today's agitations. Ashraddha Danaha. These people are called Ashraddha. They don't have Shraddha in the Shastra. Those who don't have Shraddha in the Shastra is called atheist. Who is an atheist? Remember this. In Vedas, in Vedanta, atheist doesn't mean non-believer in God. Atheist means one who doesn't believe in the Shastra. Generally, people misunderstand atheist means one who don't believe in God. Since Shastra is that which talks about God, where do you get the knowledge of God from? From the history class, you will get the knowledge of God. From the biology class, will you get the knowledge of God? Where do you get the knowledge of God from? You know even that there is a thing called God only from the Shastra. Therefore, Ashraddha Danaha means one who don't have Shraddha in the one who doesn't have faith in the Shastra. Because Shastra talks about what the Shastra talks about. Why it is difficult to have Shraddha in the Shastra? Because Shastra talks about karma, karmapala, punya and papa. Shastra talks about karma, Shastra talks about karmapala, and also they talk about punya and now all these are, you don't have any pratyaksha pramanam for all this. For indulgences, there is pratyaksha pramanam. What is the pratyaksha pramanam of indulgences? You indulge, there is happiness. Where is the problem? Straight away, it is very clear, isn't it? Correct? You indulge, there is happiness. Straight away, there is happiness in indulgence. Therefore, who is an atheist? An atheist is one who believes in the materialistic happiness. Atheist means one who is convinced about materialistic happiness. Who is a theist? A theist is one who is unnecessarily getting worried about karma, dharma, and all this. Raj, why are you getting unnecessarily worried? Whatever they do, it's their problem, isn't it? Atheist and the theist. A theist is one who has Shraddha in the Shastra. Ashraddha Danaha. Men devoid of Shraddha in this Dharma, what happens to them? They keep coming back again and again and again. Shraddha is a simple giving the benefit of doubt to the Guru and the Shastra. That's what Shraddha is. Shraddha is nothing but giving the benefit of doubt to them. Like in the cricket, they say, though, the benefit of doubt has to be given to where there is, if it is not clear, you have to give that benefit of doubt is given. So what is Shraddha means? It's very simple. Shraddha means the benefit of doubt is given to what is told by the Shastra and what is told by the Guru. Shraddha means you give benefit of doubt to them because you don't understand it. You don't know it, you don't understand it. If you know it and understood it, there's no Shraddha required after that because it is wisdom for you. If you have known it already, it is wisdom. Where you are wise, Shraddha is not required. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi is not a subject matter of Shraddha for Krishna. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi is not a subject matter of Shraddha for Krishna, for a Ramana, for a Ramatirtha. For all of us, Tattvamasi and Aham Brahmasmi is a subject matter of Shraddha. Materialistic happiness is Pramanam. It's direct. Are you able to follow? So, Ashraddha Dana, a person who doesn't have this Shraddha, for us, what is Shraddha? Materialistic happiness is Shraddha straight away. Why? Because you don't need somebody to come and tell you this. These people, Arjuna, who doesn't have this Shraddha in what? Shraddha in this Dharma. The word Dharma here means Brahma Jnanam, Atma Jnanam. The word Dharma has two meanings in two contexts. In the context of Karma Yoga, Dharma means instructions of what to do, what not to do. Clarity in life is who do you take instructions from? That's what clarity in life is. Again, I repeat. What is clarity in life? Who do you take instructions from? That's all. Most of the time, we do not know who to take instructions from. Or from what do we take instruction from? The mind, the child. That's why we keep saying, when one child has a problem, it will go to. When one child has a problem, that child will go to. Who it will go to? Another child only it will go to. That's why it will come back and tell you that I discussed it with my friends. I discussed it with my friends. Who is that friend? Who is that friend? Another child only, isn't it? So there is the lack of clarity. So who has the capacity to instruct? The Shastra, the Guru alone should be the person to instruct. Okay, understand it in a different way. Anybody can give instructions, what to do, what not to do. All instructions doesn't come under Dharma. Understand it like that. Anybody can tell you what to do, what not to do. Anybody can give instructions, what to do, what not to do. All those who give all instructions doesn't come under Dharma. If it comes from the Shastra, from the Guru, instruction that comes from the Shastra and the Guru alone is qualified to be called as Dharma. All instruction should not be called as Dharma. For instructions can be given by welfare association will give an instruction, isn't it? The auto driver will give an instruction, isn't it? Everybody keeps giving instructions. You give instruction, somebody give instructions. So instructions per se cannot be called as dharma. So dharma means the instructions that comes from the Shastra and the Guru. So clarity in life is what? You need to follow instructions. Clarity in life means you have to take instructions. Clarity in life means you have to follow instructions. The question is, who do you take it from? When it pertains to Vedanta only, we'll take from Guru and all that. When it comes to investment, I thought. Guru Purnima, talk about the Guru, they are sitting and talking about I thought. Yes, stay quiet for some time, no? And in front of me that I thought investment company. I didn't even know that there I thought investment company. I said talk about Guru Purnima. They are talking about because Shraddha is there. That's what. It's very clear. Clear. When it is spoken, what people speak, you know where Shraddha lies. What to do? Asraddha danaha purushaha. You understand this. Shankar, Purida. Asraddha danaha purushaha. You understand where Shraddha lies. So who do you take instruction from? You don't take instruction from anybody. Only when instructions come from the Shastra and the Guru, it qualifies to be called as Dharma. Asraddha danaha purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa. What I am teaching you is called Dharma. Krishna is saying that. What I am teaching you is called Dharma, Arjuna. And there are people who don't have Shraddha in that. There are people who don't have Shraddha in that. But then when there's a private conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, who are the others that he is referring to? Even when Krishna is talking to Arjuna, there are 3 more people also listening, no? Isn't it? There are 3 more listening to the conversation. Sanjaya was listening. Dhritarashtra is listening. Even though they were all listening, they didn't have Asraddha Danaha. Arjuna ke Shraddha. Sanjaya had Shraddha. Shraddha. Who had Shraddha? Sanjaya had some Jaya. That's why it's called well-controlled one. The well-controlled one alone can have Shraddha in what the Shastra says. The rest of it are blind, like Dhritarashtra. Even though hearing, they are still blind. Even though listening to it, they continue to be blind. What is the consequence of being blind? Aprapya mam nivartante. Without attaining me. Without attaining me. Aprapya. What is the consequence? The loss of 100 rupees is the loss of 100 rupees, correct? The loss of 1,000 rupees is the loss of 1,000. The loss of 1,000,000 is loss of 1,000,000. Loss of 1,000,000,000 is loss of 1,000,000,000. If you lose the infinite, what is it? Infinite loss. Losing the infinite is the infinite loss. Aprapyamam nivartante. That's what he said. Losing me is losing the infinite loss. Iha cheda vedi adasatyamasti nachediha vedir mahadi vinashti. Million times we have heard this, but still nothing rings. Doesn't matter. We will keep listening. Billion times, still it rings. Iha cheda vedi adasatyamasti nachediha vedir mahadi vinashti. Kenopanishad. If you do not know it here, if you do not realize it here, the loss that you are having is immeasurable. Why? Because the loss of 100 rupee, the loss of 100 is loss of 100. The loss of billion is loss of billion. The loss of trillion is loss of trillion. The loss of infinite is infinite loss. Aprapyamam nivartante. This is what he said. Aprapyamam nivartante, without attaining me. Without attaining me. If they don't attain to me, what happens? Return to the path of mrityu samsara vartmani. What does this samsara means? Samsara means that which is fear, that which is fraught with fear is samsara. Okay, understand it reverse. Wherever you feel insecure, whenever you feel frightened, you feel insecure, you are caught up in samsara. That's why the wise person says, I have no fear. What is samsara? Samsara means living in a constant insecurity, a constant fear, irrespective of what you have and what you don't have, there is this fear. And this fear is called samsara, and all human beings are caught up in this samsara. Isn't it? All human beings are caught up in the samsara means all human beings are insecure. Fear. What is the fear? What will happen to me? What will happen to me? What will happen to my children? What will happen to my grandchildren? It's very clear. Mrityu samsara vartmani. That's all will happen. What is there to fear? It's very clear. No, what will happen? Because ashraddha danaha. There is no shraddha. Since there is no shraddha in this, what will happen? It's very clear. What will happen? Mrityu samsara vartmani. Living in fear, living in insecurity, they keep coming back again and again and again in the hope of security. In the hope of gaining security, they do something, and then doing that, getting that, they become more insecure. No wealth is insecure. Having wealth is security. Yeah. Another kind of insecurity. Having it is one kind of insecurity. Not having it is another kind of insecurity. Being all by yourself, single, lonely, one kind of insecurity. There are 15 people around you, 500 people around you. What happens? Another kind of insecurity. So what is samsara means? Samsara means that which causes insecurity, that which causes fear, that which causes insecurity is samsara. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Not getting me, not attaining to me, not realizing me. What happens to them? What happens to them? They lose it. That's why Yama is frightening. Yama nale fear, isn't it? Yama itself means fear. Yama means kala. And what is the description of Yama? Not the holy Chaturpuja Vishnu form. How Kala is described, how Yama is described. How Yama is described. Whatever be the description is, isn't it? Whatever be the description is. Adhalam Tamil cinema or Telugu cinema sir, we will know, isn't it? Because there only they put it very very clearly Yama is described. So, fearing. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Okay, if you don't get me, what will you get? Fear you will get. That's all he said. If you don't have Shraddha in this knowledge, you will not get me. Okay, if you don't attain me, what will you get? What will be your prapti? What will you get? Fear you will get. Insecurity you will be in. Fear you will be in. The path. The path to insecurity is not having Shraddha. The path to insecurity is not having Shraddha in what they say. சும்மா ஒரு சான்ஸ் எடுத்து ட்ரை பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம் சார் கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு whether it works out or not. People do that also, no? I'm going to try it out for a few. Let me try it out for a few weeks and see whether it works or not. If it doesn't work in the few weeks, drop it. This is called Ashraddha Danaha. This is called Ashraddha Danaha. Are you able to follow? What is Ashraddha Danaha? Without faith, effort will be done. The result will not be got. I just want to explore and see for a few. You can explore for a few days, for a few weeks, for a few decades, for a few janmas also you have to explore. Why? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. That is already said very, very clearly. From another angle, Ashraddha Danaha means a person because of lack of conviction cannot go deeper. He may know the words, but he cannot go. He may know the words, he can repeat the words, he may even develop the capacity to give a discourse on the words, but still he also lives in insecurity. Why? Because Ashraddha Danaha. What is Shraddha? This is it, and all other bridges are burnt. All other bridges are burnt, and this is the only thing that you have to keep moving forward. This is called Shraddha. This is called Shraddha. When one has Shraddha, what that person will say? That's it. This is what I wanted, and I am moving in this direction, and I'm moving in this path. It's called Shraddha. And this individual who has Shraddha gains what? Gains me, he says. A person with Shraddha, what happens to that person? Gains me. He comes to me. He gains me. Okay, if a person doesn't have Shraddha, what does he gain? He also gaining something. What does he gain? Insecurity, fear. Insecurity and fear. That's why you find all individuals live in fear. All planning is done because of fear, no? You know that? All planning is done because of fear only. Financial planning, career plan, isn't it? Because of future planning, isn't it? All planning is to avoid, is a way to overcome Yes, it's well thought of. I have well planned out. Everything is done. Clearly, sir. Therefore, no problem. No fear. Inflation will come. I have accounted for inflation also, sir. But then inflation, oh no, I have accounted for inflation also. Earthquake, yeah, I have earthquake insurance also, I have. Fire insurance also I have. And you look at that person will look like a Shankaracharya, isn't it? Because he has considered everything and well protected. Can't sleep in the night. Can't sleep in the night. Why? Because markets are still unpredictable, sir. Markets are still unpredictable only. Job is there, but still it is unpredictable only. This is called Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Going in circles again and again and again. Like the leaves fall. When the leaves fall, it's called? When the leaves fall, what do you call that? Autumn. Huh? Rain comes, the whole thing is back to green, isn't it? The whole thing is dough. You look at the whole thing, it's so dry, it's so dusty, it's so dull. The rain comes, the couple of days, rain, everything is washed away, isn't it? All that, everything is washed away. It looks so green, isn't it? Middle Eastல இருந்தா என்ன பண்றது? Import பண்ணி, you have to keep it green. And even there the green doesn't look like green at all. Yeah. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. It's dull at one point of time, everything is bright at another point of time. This is called Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi. Everything in life is so dull at one point of time, and suddenly everything becomes so bright in life in another point of time. This dullness and brightness keep happening again and again and again. This is called Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. What does Mrityu Samsara Vartmani means? At some point of time, everything in life is so beautiful. At another point in time, isn't it? You can go to Niagara Falls to enjoy the beauty of Niagara Falls. And invariably you go there, the first information that people gave is what? Do you know that? Can anybody guess? No. Not the volume of water, not the Great Lakes, not all that. Even 2 days back, sir, one fellow committed suicide here. You can go to Niagara Falls to enjoy the beauty, or you can go to Niagara Falls and commit suicide also. Look at the two minds now. Look at the two individuals there. Looking at the same one person, life is so beautiful looking at the same Niagara Falls. For another person, looking at the same Niagara Falls is a very good opportunity to jump. This is called Mrityu Samsara Vartmani, poetically called Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Are you able to follow? Why does a person go through this? Because of lack of Shraddha. Indication of Shraddha is doing, not talking. Remember this. Indication of Shraddha is doing, not talking. Another Vedanta class, isn't it? In Vedanta class, we keep only talking. Guru, nothing happens. Because the proof of Shraddha is in doing, not talking. But sir, I have so many doubts. No. Unless you clear all the doubts, how can I do? Correct? Very logical. As Ram Tirtha says, Shastra, Guru will go to the next person. If a person keeps saying that, the Guru and Shastra will go to the next person. We'll ignore this person. Why? Remember that example? On a hot summer afternoon, Ram Tirtha gives this example. On a hot summer afternoon in the 1900, trains came, but water in the train came much later. You know that, no? First, the trains only came. Water in the trains and all came much later. Therefore, what the train will do, wherever there is a river, the train will stop. Everybody will get down, wash, take water, and then they go back. Or next came water in the platform. Then came water in the train. So Ramatirtha's time, he lived in a very backward age. He didn't live in a modern age. He lived in a backwards age where water will be sold in the platform. So on a hot Sunday afternoon, you can understand the North India summer, no? Isn't it? On a hot summer afternoon, the boy is selling water. 15 paise for a glass of water. 15 paisa for a glass of water. 15 paisa for a glass of water. One person stopped that fellow and said, 15 paisa is too much. Why not keep it 10 paise? 15 காசு ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்குது. 10 காசுக்கு விற்கலாம்ல. What did the boy say? Boy said, you are not thirsty, and he moved on to the next fellow. Because negotiations will happen only when you are not thirsty. Able to follow? The boy said, you are not thirsty, and we moved on to the next person. Because when the person is thirsty, why 15 paisa? Even 25 paisa that fellow will give. It means the moment the person says, clear all my doubts, then I will start doing. Shastra will say, you are not thirsty. The Guru will say, you are not thirsty, and it will move to the next person. Why? Still, this person has to get some more. The person has to get some more. The thirst didn't. Why the thirst didn't come? The thirst for Dharma didn't come. Why? Because he is still very thirsty about materialism. The thirst is elsewhere. It's not that he is not having thirst, but the thirst is elsewhere. And remember, you can't have both the thirst simultaneously. Little bit of spiritual thirst and little bit of material thirst. For my worldly livelihood, survival and all, little bit of material things. And for spiritual thirst, Shankar, you can't serve two masters at the same time. Whenever I say this, I will remember him. Because he only said, so correct, sir, it is, he told me once. Not that he's practicing it or following it, but at least the way he appreciated it, one day, I remember that. He may have forgotten. I don't know whether you remember it or not. Yeah, I remember. He said, you can't serve two masters at the same time. You can't have both the thirsts. Either if you are not thirsty for Dharma, you are thirsty for Adharma. And what is Adharma? Materialism is Adharma. Ashraddha dana purushaha. Now you understand the verse, it becomes easy to follow. Ashraddha dana purushaha. These people who don't have Shraddha in this Dharma that I am teaching, that I taught, that I am going to teach. What I have been speaking till the previous verse is Dharma, and I am going to continue to teach. It means what? Shraddha is a matter of doing. Question becomes meaningful only when you try and then ask. Questions doesn't have any meaning without trying. Again, I repeat. Questions will have meaning only when you try and then you come and ask. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshante tu jnanam. Who will teach you if you do this rightly? The wise one will teach you. Sunday class teacher la varamatanga. Yeah, he says the wise teacher will come and teach you. Who tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Ashraddha danaha means one who doesn't have Shraddha. And lack of Shraddha means convince me, then I will do. That is Ashraddha. Shraddha means I will do. Why? Because it is told by you. I will do. Why? Because it's told by the Guru, the Shastra. And whoever can do that, whoever can do that, what will they get? What will they get? Aprapyamam nivartante kadayadu. Prapyamam nivart. They will get me. Aprapya means you will not get. Prapyamam means you will get. You will get me. Huh? Me means what here? Me here refers to the state that Krishna has reached. When he said you will get me, it's not the body of Krishna you will get. What will you do with the body of Krishna? If one body is useless, all bodies are useless. If one body is made up of flesh and bones, this person's body is also made up of flesh and bones only, correct? So whenever we say you will get me, you will get me, you will get me, you will not get the body, you will not get the murti, you will not get the form. What will you get? That state you will get. So prapyamam means what you will get. You will get to the state that I am in. You will get to that state that I am in. This is Ashraddha Dana Purushaha. Very, very important verse that is talking about one who doesn't have Shraddha. Talks about the one who doesn't have Shraddha. But sir, nowhere it is told what to do, what not to do and all. Simply where is it said what to do, what not to do? What is Shraddha means? At everyone's level, you know what to do, you know what not to do. Sticking to that is called Shraddha. Again, I repeat, what is Shraddha? At every individual's level, they know what to do and what not to do. Sticking to that, making an effort to put that, implement that is called Shraddha. For nobody can come and say, 100% I don't know what to do. Nobody can say that. Only in some situation you will not know what to do. In most of the situations you know what to do. Correct? In most of the situations you will know what to do, what not to do. In some situation you will not know what to do, what not to do. And don't worry about those situations where you are confused. Ignore that. Don't worry about that. In the situations where you know what to do, what not to do, make an effort to stick to that. This is called Shraddha in Dharma. People always come and ask what to do, what not to do in a situation that they are confused about. As though you know it, everything gets sorted out. Nothing will get sorted out by knowing that. Therefore, what is the other way? What is the more practical way? In the areas where you know what to do, what not to do, practice it. By practicing this, you get a maturity. That maturity will give you a clarity. That clarity will guide you in the areas where you have a confusion also. Are you able to see the sequence? You do it. By doing it, you get a clarity. That clarity will guide you to do, what not to do in the situations where you have a doubt also. This is called Shraddha. Ashraddha Danaha means a person who doesn't even want to do what one knows as right and wrong. One knows what to do, what not to do. If a person doesn't do that, that is called Ashraddha. Are you able to follow? So you need not worry about the 10-15% of the areas where you have a doubt. Practice it in the areas where you know clearly. You know clearly that you should exercise, correct? You know clearly. How many will do it? No time, sir. No time, isn't it? I wake up in the morning and I see it's very cloudy today. Anytime it will rain. Therefore, I will not go out for exercise today, isn't it? Next morning, I wake up. I see, oh, it's very bright today. It's very sunny today. If I go out today, I will get roasted. Therefore, I will not go today. When will I go? Never go, isn't it? This is called Ashraddha. Are you able to follow? This is called Ashraddha. You know that you have to be more charitable. You know that. You know that you have to be more charitable. Do that. Practice that. It is called following Shraddha. I'm not getting into the examples of it because endless examples we can go on giving. But at everybody, more or less, they know what to do, what not to do. Sticking to that which you are convinced about is called Shraddha. Acting according to your conviction is Shraddha. Why? You are convinced about it and you do it. Not knowing what the Shraddha means, you will do it, not knowing what the consequences are. That is called Shraddha. Again, I repeat, what is Shraddha means? You do it, not knowing what the result is going to be. That is called Shraddha. I am giving so many meanings of Shraddha, I don't know. You do, and you know you will get 4 types of results. You know you will get 4 types of results. What are the 4 types of results? You may get exactly what you want. You may get more than what you want. You may get less than what you want. You may get the opposite of what you want. Irrespective of what you are going to get, you will do that which you ought to do. This is called Shraddha. Are you able to follow? This is called Shraddha. Ashraddha means, what does Ashraddha means? How sure are you that it will work, sir? How do we know how sure it is? You can only, okay, sir, but at least I won't know, but at least you know, no? Why can't you say, at least you know, no? Why can't you say, for sure it will work? This is called Ashraddha. Shraddha means not knowing what you are going to get, not knowing the consequences, you do it. That is called Shraddha, isn't it? It's like walking into the examination hall. Exactly like that. You walk into the examination hall not knowing what you are going to get, correct? At times, you study the wrong subject and go, no? Isn't it? That also, I know what to do to that. At times, that also happens, isn't it? Suddenly you'll go and science question paper is given and you thought it is history paper and you studied history for 4 days and you go, science question paper is given, you will tell the teacher, what? What will you tell the teacher? Mathi question paper kuduthittinga? The teacher will say, I am giving it rightly, only you did it. So what is Shraddha here? Shraddha is like walking into the examination hall, not knowing what you are going to get. Whatsoever you get, you have to deal with it. That's called Shraddha. Whatsoever you get, you have to deal with it. How nice it will be, sir, if the question paper is leaked. How nice it will be. How nice it will be. Life doesn't give you that luxury. Life doesn't leak, isn't it? You may imagine, you may fantasize, but that's your problem. Life doesn't. No question paper will be leaked by life, meaning it will never tell you of the 4 what you are going to get. Shraddha means what? You got to do it, not knowing of the 4 what you will get. Positive thinking means, what is positivity? Always thinking you will get more than what you want. That is positivity. That is optimism. What is pessimism? Always you will get exactly the opposite of, sir, na edu pannalum ultava dhaan sir avudhu, isn't it? Anything I do is becoming opposite only. A philosopher, a student of knowledge and understanding has Shraddha. Are you able to understand now what Shraddha is? Ashraddha dana. If a person doesn't have this, naturally what will happen? That person will live in insecurity only. That person will live in insecurity only. This is verse number 3. Ashraddha dana purushaha. Dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. They attain immortality. Those who pursue this with Shraddha, they attain me. Attaining me is attaining immortality. This is verse number 3. We move on to verse number 4. Verse number 4 padi.
Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadav vyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitah. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadav vyaktamurtina masthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitah.
All this world is pervaded by me in the unmanifested form. All beings dwell in me and I do not dwell in them. All this world is pervaded by me in the unmanifested form. All beings dwell in me and I do not dwell in them. From verses 4 to 10, he's packing the essence of the Upanishads as in God in the Nirguna. 10 and 11, chapter 10 and 11 is going to talk about God with the Guna. That's why chapter 10 is going to talk about Vibhuti Yoga. Chapter 11 is going to talk about Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Here, from 4 to 10, it's packed. Very, very important verses that talks about what is the nature of God. what is he saying now? All this world is pervaded by me in the unmanifested form. All beings dwell in me and I do not dwell in them. I am the Avyakta Murti, not Rama Murti, not Krishna, not Rama Murti, not Krishna Murti. I am Avyakta Murti. Vyaktam means that which is perceptible by the senses. Avyaktam means that which is not available to the senses. Vyaktam means that which is available to the instruments of cognition. Avyaktam means that which is not available to the instruments of cognition, perception. So how am I in this world? Not in the, all this world is pervaded by me in the unmanifested form. All beings exist in me. I do not dwell in them. This Jagat means that which is born, that which exists, and that which dies. That which is born, has an existence, and dies away is called Jagat. All three together is called Jagat. So all these three is pervaded by me. In what form? In the form that you cannot cognize, in the form that is not available for you to see. Avyakta Murti. Avyakta Murti is the classic Upanishadic way of describing God. That is why always remember these two Murtis. As an example, you can remember Avyakta Murti and Krishna Murti. You can remember that. Krishna Murti means that which is available for cognition. Avyakta Murti means that which is not available. So, how do I pervade? I pervade in the Avyakta Murti. And what is the Avyakta Murti form? The example that he gives in Atma Bodha, that he gives for the Avyakta Murti form, taking from the Upanishad, is like the butter pervading the milk. Like the butter pervading the milk. What is perceptible is the milk. And what is the nature of the milk? What is perceivable is milk. And what is the nature of the milk? That will get spoiled, isn't it? The nature, what is that? What is perceivable? The milk. And what is the nature of the perceivable milk? Spoiled. From that spoiled milk, you get, from the milk that can get spoiled, you get, what do you get? You get ghee that doesn't get spoiled at all. So, from the spoiled milk, you get something that which is not spoiled at all. That unspoiled ghee in the milk is Avyakta Murti. Are you able to follow? The Atma Bodha he gives this, like butter pervades, like ghee in the milk, I pervade the world. entire realm is pervaded by me. Vyaktam means manifest, perceived, comprehended. Avyaktam means unmanifest, that which is incomprehensible. Vyaktam means that which can be, that which is manifest, you can comprehend it. Avyaktam means it is unmanifest, unmanifest in the sense you cannot comprehend it. I pervade the whole world. Does not rope pervade the whole snake? Correct? Just as the rope is saying, I pervade the snake. The snake is in me. The rope is saying, the snake is in me and I am not the snake. Correct? Do you follow? Very, very simple example. You can understand it with rope and snake. And then we will go deeper and deeper and deeper. We'll take first we'll get a very general, basic, comprehensive idea, and then we'll go deeper and deeper. So first he says, Maya tatamidam sarvam. I pervade the whole world in a manner which is not manifest for the senses and the mind. You got to take it only with Shraddha, no? What will help you to receive it? What will help you to receive the statement that he is making now? Only Shraddha. A God with Murti, you don't need Shraddha. Why? Because it is comprehensible, it is perceivable. The moment you can see God with the form, Shraddha is not required. Why? Because it is perceivable, comprehensible. Where it cannot be perceived by the mind and the senses alone, you need Shraddha. So he says, I pervade the whole world in a manner which is not manifest for the senses and the mind. Okay. What is its nature? Sat is the nature. What is the nature by which it pervades? Sat. Don't worry, 4 to 10, it will be a bit technical. And in one session, we will finish 4 to 10. Because it gets very, very, it's very technical. Very, very interesting is this 4 to 10. What is the nature? Object is there. The isness, the existence, the Sat is the Avyakta Murti. The isness, the existence, the Sat form is the Avyakta Murti. So what is available for senses? Object is available for senses. Correct? The tree is, the wood is, the table is, the tree is available, the wood is available, the table is available. All these objects are available to senses for knowing. What is avyaktam in all this? What is avyaktam in all this? The avyaktam in this is the isness that is not available to senses. You can see the tree. By seeing the tree, you understand the tree is. You see the table. By understanding the table, you understand there is table. Correct? Second, objects has a purpose for existence. There is a purpose. Something is there in it. Something is there. What is there in an object? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. We have seen all this already. For something to be called as an object, It should have a name, it should have a form, it should have a property, and it should have some action. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Karma. What is the Avyakta Murti? No Nama, no Rupa, no Guna, no Karma. This is one. Second is Mastani, Sarvani, Bhutani. Matsani, Sarvani, Bhutani. All beings in me. The whole world is in me. Three important statements, which we will continue next week also. Three important statements. What are the three beautiful statements? The entire Vedanta is the first statement. I pervade the entire world. Avyakta Murti. That's all Vedantic wisdom is. Avyakta Murti. Second statement. World is in me. World is in me. Statement number 2. How do you say world is in me? Because I am the substratum. The ring is in me. The necklace is in me. The bangle is in me. The gold is saying that. Why? Because I am the substratum. So I pervade. I am the substratum. Beautiful third statement. What is the third statement? I am not in them. They are in me, but I am not in them. Obviously, how can it be contradictory? Correct? Can't be contradictory, no? And then he says, as though this confusion is not enough, in the next verse, he will take the confusion to a totally different level again. As though this itself is not enough. So he says, the world is in me. I am not in the world. World is in me means the world needs me. I am not in the world means I don't need the world. The bangle needs me. I don't need the bangle. Gold says the bangle needs me for it to exist. But I don't need the bangle to exist. Why? Because I am the Avyakta Murti. I exist independent. Therefore, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat Avyakta Murtina Matstani Sarvabhutani Nachaham Teshvavastitaha. This is the conclusion. Verse number 4. 2-3 more things has to be told in verse number 4, which we will continue in the next session. We will continue to read verse number 4 in the next session. Before we conclude, clarifications. Any clarifications? There is a clarification here, and then Ram Subramaniam. I'll come to you also. Yeah.
So, verse 3 of chapter 9 says, men devoid of Shraddha in this Dharma, without attaining me, return to the path of the mortal world. I think that this is repeated in chapter 3, verse 32, which says, but those who carpet this teaching of mine and do not practice it, deluded in all knowledge and senseless,
Yes.
know them to be ruined.
Yes.
So is it a repetition, do they mean the same, or is there any difference?
Yeah. The reference that she is bringing is for verse number 3, chapter 9. The reference that she is bringing in is verse number 32 of chapter 4.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, yeah. Oh, after Karma Yoga. Okay. After giving the principle of Karma Yoga in verse number 30, he says, if you have Shraddha, this is what you get. If you don't have Shraddha, this is what will happen. Every 3 chapters, you will have references like this. You are correct. It's the same thing. What is said in verse number 32 of chapter 3 is what is said in verse number 3 of chapter 9. He will say the same thing in the last few verses of the 18th chapter also. He will say the same thing. Because every few chapters, he keeps reinforcing the Shraddha. As I said in the beginning, what is the most difficult thing that they are facing? Gold and ornaments, rope and snake, idella straight away clear. Shraddha doesn't come, no? You follow? So, the reference that you gave is perfectly correct. He speaks about Shraddha in chapter 2 also. In fact, in every chapter, he keeps talking about Shraddha. In some chapters, he directly says it. Shraddha, Ashraddha. In some places, he will directly say Shraddha and then Ashraddha. In this chapter, he only used the word Ashraddha. Since he used the word Ashraddha, the first two implies Shraddha. Correct. The reference is correct. Okay? Yeah. Ram Subramaniam.
Yes, sir. Sir, so regarding the latest verse that we saw,
Yeah.
so he says, all living beings are in me, but I am not in them. So,
Yes.
So, and you have already mentioned that this is very confusing. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm just going to bring a reference to chapter 7, sir. So,
Yes.
chapter 7, there is a particular verse in which
Yes.
we saw that he says,
Yes.
there is every being, there is an essential nature in every being. I am that
Yes.
essential nature.
Yes.
So that one and this one are contradicting each other. So just thought we'll seek your insights and clarification on the contradiction, sir.
Yeah. This contradiction, wait for a week to reconcile. I'm going to reconcile it in the next week.
Okay.
There is a contradiction. There is a definite contradiction. And then if you go to verse 5, there is going to be another bigger contradiction than this. He simply made statements and he went away. Yeah. Unnecessarily, we took up the job of trying to justify all that he is saying. Thankless job. Somebody makes a statement, somebody has to sit and justify what he has. And yet, that's the truth. We will clear that.
Sure.
There is a clarification. There is a reconciliation, which you are going to do. And I tell you, Ram Subramaniam, very, very interesting are these verses from 4 to 10. The self pervades the word, and you don't get it so directly. You don't get it so directly. Since this is very confusing, he tones it down in chapter 10 and 11 to Murti form. Since this is too complicated, too confusing for people to digest or understand, he waters it down. He tones it down in chapter 10 and chapter 11. And people actually get more impressed by chapter 10 and 11. Because at least there is something that you can, something you can see. Here, nothing is. We will clarify that, Ram Subramaniam.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I know the answer, but I have to give another half-an-hour lecture on that. That's why. Okay, sir is simply buying time. No, don't. Yeah, I will come and give you one whack at your place. I will come. Follow?
Yes.
Ram Subramaniam.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll wait for that next week, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Venkat Varunil? Yes. With this, we conclude for today and we continue.